Pineapple One, man.
Why is everyone just muted, dude?
I mean, this is like
we just
this
hanging
is like
out.
You ever seen like hyenas? We're waiting for a freaking wounded fucking zebra to go walking across the prairie.
Okay.
Are you that guy?
Well, I don't know. Do you guys believe in flat Earth? Can I debate you?
Yeah.
You do or you don't?
I take umbrage with the word believe.
Okay. So you're flat earthers.
Yes.
Okay.
Whole chat.
The whole chat? Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
There might be a couple Glovers in here. Hold on, let me look real quick. No.
Dude, if you look, this room is number one in this server, man.
Holy shit.
So, what do you know about this topic?
So I actually don't know much about the flat earther argument, so I'm a little curious there. What's the...
well, hold on before you start all this. Are you aware of like the memes or like silly videos or like articles on the internet?
I mean, I'm aware of them, but I haven't really like watched many or anything. I'm aware they exist.
Okay. Let's start off here. We don't think Earth is a disk in space and that it's the third disk from the sun in a solar system. So let's start there.
Okay, that's a good place to start.
That's it, because that's the typical place how it's portrayed, right? They'll show Earth in outer space, floating in space with the water falling off the edges of the Earth.
Yeah.
We don't think that. Okay, so it's a different cosmological worldview, you could put it.
What is it that you do think?
Okay, that we don't think that the Earth is the universe or reality is a giant fucking space vacuum with all the planets thousands of trillions of miles away from each other, right? Spinning around each other, all that crap. We don't believe in any of that crap. And the reason being is because, like, typically if you see that, it's portrayed, right? So you've seen pictures of the solar system, right? They're all portrayed from like this third person point of view. Obviously, you've never had that point of view.
No, I have not.
Okay, neither does anybody else.
I sure hope no one has. That'd be a little concerning.
Yeah, no one's actually had that third-person point of view.
Yeah.
All we have is from like our point of view, our first-person point of view.
Can I ask a question?
I guess I feel like third-person points of view makes sense for map or depictions, though.
Can I ask what he means by third-person point of view? Like,
I think he means like that top-down sort of
external. Technically, it's called a orthographic view.
If I put a Bandicam above my head, is that not considered third person? And I watch that camera. Is that?
Yeah, we don't need this kind of commentary.
No. Is that not what he's referencing? Or
if you can't figure it out, just shut yourself up, man, and listen.
Okay, fuck you, dude.
Holy shit!
Are you guys insane, bro? The road
he went straight for the kill.
Well, that escalated quickly.
I feel like the sort of top-down view makes sense, though, from a map-wise perspective, because it's sort of like it's a map. You can't really fit in a depiction of a large region unless you have like a third-person point of view. Like if you have a map of just the United States, for example, it's that same top-down. I mean, not at the same scale, but...
Yeah, I understand why they exist, man. I'm not like fucking damn. I know why we have orthographic points of view,
okay.
engineering drawings, blueprints, things like that. But this is a different issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to. You can actually theoretically take a third-person point of view of North America, right?
Yes.
Or your house, or your state, or Lake Titicaca. Like, we can take third-person points of view of that and verify that whatever we drew on the map is actually correct. We can't verify whether, the Earth is orbiting the sun in a solar system. Because nobody's ever actually observed an orbit, and this might come as a shock, and it often is that, in reality, no one's actually ever observed an orbit in nature. From an external third-person point of view. People have constructed a model in which, from where they're looking, right, from their first person point of view, they say, hey, from this third person point of view, we can construct a model in which, from our viewpoint, it'll look like this.
Yes.
Right? So it's all constructed from a first person point of view. So astronomy assumes that you're a point at the origin of coordinates looking outward into a sphere of infinite radius. So this idea, so there's more ideas that go along with it, that the Earth has no unique, is not unique, right? Has no preferred place in the universe. It's just like everything else. This is called the Copernican principle. So this is philosophical. It has nothing to do with science or anything like that, right? So you have these philosophical presuppositions from which the entire idea of a globe is created from, right? So that's what most people don't realize, that they have these things built in, like these assumptions, like, hey, I've had hundreds of times said to me, well, if the Earth is round, why are the other planets round? I go, hey, the Earth isn't a planet. And they'll go, well, then what is it? Right? Because in their mind, it has to be like everything else.
Are you being for real right now, or are you fucking joking?
It can't be. But why does the Earth have to be?
Okay, hold on. Let me finish my sentence. It can't be unique in the Copernican principle. So their presupposition of how the reality works is that Earth is not unique. So that's because it's the logical fallacy. If you go, hey, planets are round, why isn't the Earth round? They don't even realize that that's a logical fallacy because they have a presupposition that everything is the same.
I just want to put, so if everything else is round, it's a logical fallacy to assume that the thing we are on is round?
No. No, the evidence, right? You look out, you see a whole bunch of shit that's round. Let me use an analogy. You looked out the peephole of your door, right, your front door, and you saw a bunch of cars. Would it be okay for you to say, I'm a car?
Okay, what if I said that about humans,
okay,
though?
Address what I said.
Well, no, because I'm smart enough to know that I'm not
address
a car.
what I said, dude.
What he said.
What did he just say? Say that again.
He said if you look out your window and you see a car, is it logical?
I said a peephole.
Okay, a peephole. My bad.
Because I don't want him to be able to look around him, right? So the idea is all you can see is outside. And then you see a whole bunch of things outside that are all the same. Would you think you're one of those things?
Well, in this case, I don't think this matters because I know how a car works. And you're looking at things that you
understand. But how do you know you're not a car?
Because I have metacognition. I understand how to think.
Okay, so how do we know we're not a planet?
Are you being for real? Are you joking? Are you being for real?
How do I?
Okay. What about, like, if I stand?
I mean, I sure hope I don't have a huge gravitational.
Wait a minute, hold on. You kind of not like answering the question. You saying because you know how a car works. You don't know that.
Dude, he's giving philosophical questions that we impossibly
can't answer it philosophically. You don't know how. The point of the matter is that you don't know how a car works. So you not knowing how a car works, and all you see is cars outside of your peephole, will you assume that you a car?
But you're saying stuff that we can obviously tell. You need to say something that, like, for example,
it's a hypothetical.
It's a hypothetical. Hold on a second. Okay, so the concept of gravity, concept of gravity is large.
Okay, we're not going to
What are you doing? Answer the question, bro.
Answer what question? Something that's stupid and something that we should answer?
It's not stupid.
It's so dumb.
It's a point.
No, you challenged. Hold on a second. You challenged whether it's a logical fallacy or not. It is. If I say I see the planet
if I observe something,
stop interrupting me.
I can. Oh my
God. Do you know what a logical fallacy is, dude?
Do you know how to make an argument that makes sense?
Yes, it's based upon a logical fallacy.
I'm giving you your argument. I'm giving you your argument. Your argument is I see the planets are round, therefore the Earth is round, and you're saying that is not a non sequitur. It does not logically follow your premise that seeing round planets indicates a round Earth. It doesn't logically follow from that.
Let me say something.
Hold on. What would logically follow? You dumb cunt.
Oh shit!
Hold on. I just want to.
I fucking hate dumb cunts.
If you guys aren't here to listen, man, just leave. Like, fuck. It's real simple.
Are you
So,
guys being for real?
my input is the argument at hand is Earth a planet? Yes or no? Is that
No,
what
that's
you're
not
saying?
the argument. It's proven
Planet is a
whether or not it's
category.
logical fallacy. That's all.
Yeah. So, okay, if you thought Earth was a planet, you would say, hey, what is a planet? It's a category, right? It's a category. You look up in the sky.
A planet is a category. A planet is just something you label something as.
Okay, is the tree outside your house in the category planet?
It could be. Based on our Newtonian physics, it could be based on our Newtonian physics. You could have satellites orbiting
a tree. Could be a planet, dude. What would make a tree a planet?
If life was growing on it, if we had satellites orbiting around it, that tree would eventually shape itself into a globe. Eventually,
is there life on Mars or the satellites orbiting Mars?
That's something. What? What are you talking about?
You just gave me a whole bunch of. You just gave me a whole bunch of qualifications to be a planet. And then I just gave you Mars, and it doesn't have any of those.
Okay.
Does that mean
I did make a mistake. I did make a mistake and say that a tree, no, it doesn't have to grow life on it, but stuff could orbit around it. I don't know the exact definition of a planet. That's just semantics.
Okay, no, it's not semantics.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Jesus fucking
You guys just say words and stuff. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Oh my God. I know that.
You don't know how to follow a logical fact.
I know Earth is a planet. I don't know what a planet is. I know Earth is.
So you don't know what a planet is, but you're gonna look in the sky and say Earth must be a planet because those things that I see in the sky that I don't know is actually a planet is a planet.
I'm looking at these things in the sky, these things that are so-called orbiting, because our moon orbits according to what we can.
You don't see an orbit though.
We can take time. We can take pictures constantly, look at it at separate times, and we can see the positioning.
Okay, so you say you look. Okay, so you say you looking up in the sky, you see the moon orbiting, and you see these other things that you perceive to be planets, and therefore, Earth must be.
And therefore, I would say Earth, it probably acts like the things we're looking at.
So Earth must be the same. That's the logical fallacy that he was talking about. So Earth
we have gone up in the International Space Station.
Right.
And
when he gave you the analogy, which is basically still going by your worldview, is basically testing your logic. When he gave you the analogy, I'm in the house, right, and I'm looking outside, and I see nothing but cars. Therefore, I must be a car. That's the same logic that you just gave him. So he's only pointing out that it's a logical fallacy because it may not be a car.
Okay, obviously, if I look outside and see only cars, and cars are the only things that exist, which cars aren't the only thing that exists, I would see everything else that exists as well.
Planets is not the only thing that exists neither. So what are you talking about?
Okay.
Right?
Name the other things that exist. Okay, so what else is it? Galaxies.
There's galaxies, there's stars, there's meteors.
Hold on. This is funny. Hold on. So if you did look out there and cars were only thing that exists that you could see, you'd be a car?
Right.
Is that what you're trying to convince us?
Think about it like this. Okay, if I observed only... Okay, no. Let's understand basic scientific principles, okay? If I observe something... Be quiet. Science and logic intertwine. Science is not something No, I'm not. You are interrupting me. Please listen, okay? If I observe something and I observe nothing else, there is nothing else for me to base my observations off of. So therefore, I can only make hypotheses and observations of something that I can observe. And so if I don't observe anything but cars, then I can be like, okay, I don't know what a mirror is. I'm probably, of course, probably. Philosophically, you can't prove anything philosophically. It's all.
Why wouldn't you know what mirrors are? Mirrors are on par.
You're literally trying to argue that you'd be a car.
That was besides the point. That was besides the point. Hold on. I'm just gonna say, do you think you're unique and special because you just want to be different and you want to think that you're different than everybody else because I don't want to follow this? This sounds like what you're saying. You're saying,
don't quit your day job.
Other people are telling me this. This is so. This can't be true. true because everyone else is saying it. I must be correct.
Yeah, this is going
spiraling. Left. Dude, I know you guys are conspiracy theorists. This is what this is.
God. The only thing we've talked about is whether you made a logical fallacy and you now somehow because we talked about
it's not a logical fallacy.
You know our motives.
Yeah, it is,
what we think. You know what our fucking background is.
I do. Hold on, listen to this.
The hamster's still running. The hamster's running.
Okay, you're spiraling, bro. Okay, I'm muting you because you're spiraling. I don't know where you got all that idea about us that we're conspiracy theorists and we want to be different and feel special because we pointed out a logical fallacy. I don't know what fucking, are you can you read my fortune? Can you tell the future? You got any other party tricks you got?
Yeah, you've caught him out and that's all you can come up with now.
Like he asked us and now he wants to tell us, right? Like, fuck me.
Yeah,
Indio, can you reset with the guy and try to bring him to a logical conclusion about this? Because
so I was wondering, do you guys have a set belief on what you think?
The middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours or something.
Well, I started talking and then you started talking. I didn't mean to interrupt you if I did. You can.
Okay, let's just move on from that. Okay, let's start over. The other dude got everyone riled up.
Basically, what I was wondering is, do you guys have a belief on what you think, whatever we want to categorize what we're on Earth, or if we don't believe it's a planet, do you guys have a category that you think it falls under other than a planet?
It's flat.
Yeah, Earth. It's not in a category.
Earth. Okay,
so it's unique.
Is it like a landmass?
If it's unique, it can't have a category. It's unique. Okay. There's nothing like it, right?
So it's like the only... Well,
yes, Earth has
the only
land
thing that exists in that sense.
Yeah.
You guys feel that? Okay. What are your thoughts on satellite imagery? Like, how does that come into play here? Do you think it is real and it doesn't portray a big enough image? Do you think it's like fake? Like, what's the belief on satellite imagery?
Well, they display. I mean, it depends on the particular image, but. Yeah, satellite imagery itself, fundamentally, it's untestable and can only be believed, right? And the only possible way to test it is, hey, this image is showing me something of the Earth. I can go on Earth to that place it took a picture of and see if the Earth is actually like that.
Yes.
Okay, that's all we can do. So if a satellite takes a picture of a curving ocean and the ocean's not curving, we can say that all the satellite photos that show that can't be real, right?
Yeah.
So just like if someone took a picture of the Empire State Building on top of 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania, and then I go there and there's no Empire State Building there, I can say all those images are fake. I don't need to prove how they were fake, who faked them, what they did, or any conspiracy. There's no fucking building there, right? I don't need to do anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
So this is the same thing. Like all these pictures that they show us, there's no way we can test them. We have no reference from which even to compare them to. I've never seen the Earth from that point of view. So how can I even evaluate the image? Is this a real picture of the Earth? How the hell am I going to know? I've never seen the Earth from that point of view. So it's like some other object, like say a picnic table. I've seen a picnic table. I can tell if it's a fake picnic table picture because I can compare it to something I've seen before. But I've never seen the Earth. All I can do is compare it to other images people said were of the Earth that I can't evaluate, right? So that's kind of like the position we are with space pictures. They're in the realm of Bigfoot pictures.
Not to mention, there's supposed to be 19,000 satellites or something, and wait, none of them ever fall out of orbit.
Lots of satellites,
become defective and fall crashing down and stuff like that. Like, how come we don't ever see them crashing into each other? No, anything like that. There's nothing. There's no satellites ever falling down to Earth or what.
Dude, you want to make your computer crash? Go to the website called Stuff in Space. It just shows you all the satellites that are supposed to be in orbit. It'll make your computer frickin' just bog to 1 frame a second. That's how many there's supposed to be. Something like 40,000 or some ridiculous number.
So is it sort of the unknown of that is the basis of not believing that Earth is round? The inability. It's the inability.
No, it's not really that it's unknown. It's that type of evidence is useless.
Okay.
Okay, so even if you went, like, say you said, "Hey, I want to go to court and I'm going to sue somebody because of satellite image," and they bring in the satellite image, say, "Hey, look, here's the satellite image, Earth's a ball." That wouldn't be admissible evidence because you would need to bring in the person that took the picture.
Yes.
Okay, so that person could testify that they took that picture, and that would be evidence. But just like anybody can put anything on the internet, right? Like,
I would say that is true now, but I feel like that was a lot less true originally. Like right now, at the stage of the internet we're in, you can pretty much fake anything. But years ago, it was a lot harder to do things like that. For example,
you know when the
why the moon landing looks so fake.
We're not getting into the moon landing, are we? Oh boy!
Okay, no, we're not. So, you know when the first fake image was ever made?
I'm guessing 19. I have no idea. Random guess.
Wrong century, dude. 18.
18. Oh, 18, I didn't know that.
1841.
Dun, dun,
so they've been faking photographs since they invented photography.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Abraham. There's even a fake photo of Abraham Lincoln that they printed in newspapers.
I have a question.
Hold on before we move on.
Okay.
It's easy to fake imagery. It's nothing. It's super easy. And so here's a trick. If you ever look up hyper-realistic painting.
Yeah.
So people can paint so good that it is photorealistic. So you could take a painting.
That's a good point. I like that.
And take a photograph of it, and it will be a real photo. It just won't be a real photo of what they're saying they're taking a photo of, right? It's a painting of that, right? So there's one of Morgan Freeman, right? So they painted Morgan Freeman, and then they took a photo of the picture of the painting.
Of the painting that's hyper-realistic.
But the photo looks like a photograph of Morgan Freeman, but it's not a photograph. So this is the way they used to do it because we actually know, bring up the moon landing, that they made like a freaking like a 20-foot fucking moon that artists painted. And they made simulations of little cameras flying by it.
Every detail.
But I don't want to get into the moon landing because that's a whole rabbit hole. That's too easy to prove. That's a whole other topic.
Do you think?
I'm just saying, as evidence, it's too inferential. We have to rely on, to trust people and do all sorts of other things. Right?
So there'd have to be
why go through all that
evidence.
But we don't. Yeah, why even go through that when we can just test the Earth itself? It's right here. I'm right here on the Earth, right? I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to trust anybody.
So, do you believe there is? There's been tests that prove there is a curvature on the Earth. Do you believe it's a curved land? Let me find it. Hold on. Yeah. I do not have it off the top of my head. Give me a moment.
So it's okay, dude. We've done this lots of times, man.
All right.
You're probably like maybe the 20,000th person I'm talking.
Yeah. If, theoretically speaking, you could go up in a spaceship, orbit the Earth, if that happened, would you believe it since you saw it personally with your eyes?
There'd be nothing to believe.
There'd be nothing to believe?
I would know it, right?
Yes. You'd know. Okay.
Like that's
fair.
Not even a question, quite honestly. So we've actually, like, we don't just like, hey, we looked at the Earth and it looks flat, therefore the Earth is flat. It's not like that, right? Looking flat is, hey, that's like your first impression. That doesn't mean it is flat. The thing is, if someone says, hey, your first impression is wrong, it's actually a giant ball too big to see, the burden of proof is on them to demonstrate that that's an optical illusion. It's not on me.
That's a fair statement,
But we've gone farther than that, and we've actually tested and measured it using lasers and infrared and mirrors and all sorts of shit, right? So we know from tests that it's not just an optical illusion.
Yeah.
So I actually seen one that someone did. So some guy, he took his rifle, his scope.
Yeah.
Okay. He put it on a transit, which is basically like it goes to a theodolite, but he attached his rifle scope to it instead of the theodolite because the rifle scope he's got like 30 times zoom on it.
Yeah.
So he's got a crosshair. And he took it, and he's at the beach, and he spins it. He knows how high the slope is. It's 5 feet. He rotates it right 5 miles away. Boom, hits the person right dead in the chest. 5 feet off the water. Spins it some more, hits another person that's even farther away. Boom, 5 feet in the chest, 5 feet in the chest, 5 feet in the chest. All these people, all along this long ass beach. I think it was Vanderbilt Beach or some shit like this. The point is, at 5 miles away, there's supposed to be 14 feet of drop.
Yeah.
Did you know that those are the dimensions they claim?
Well, I mean, I didn't know the numbers, but I get what you're referencing there.
So it's way more than what people think. So people think the Earth is really big and there wouldn't be that much drop. No, it's actually a lot of drop. So in 6 miles, it's supposed to be 6 feet. Or no, in 3 miles, it's supposed to be 6 feet. My mistake.
Okay.
In 10 miles, it's supposed to be 66 feet. So that's a 6-story building.
Yeah.
Right? So if you had so it gets worse because it's exponential.
Yeah.
At 20 miles, it's 420 feet. Or at 30 miles, it's 420. That's right. I've actually personally myself watched the boat 30 miles away. And I know because they have this thing called marinetracking.com where you can track the boat. So I knew where the boat was. And I watched it sail to where it was. It sounded like it's just some random boat out in the ocean. I watched it sail for 3.5 hours from out of Boston Harbor out into the ocean, waiting for it to disappear over the curve of the earth. And it never did.
Okay.
And it never did. And then I went, after watching it for 3.5 hours, I went on top of a 100-foot parking garage to make sure it was the same boat. And I could still see the boat, and it was still the same boat out there. So, and the first observation was from 15 feet above sea level. So the point is that ship should have been
under the horizon,
feet under the curve.
From your
Under the horizon. 400 feet. Not like a little bit, like a 42-story building under the curve. See, these observations we made, they're not it's not like, oh, it could be, and it's close. Some of these are way off. 10 times off, 2 orders of magnitude off. And obviously, 100 times off is crazy, right?
Yeah,
so your prediction
it's a pretty big difference.
5. Yeah, it's a huge difference. You thought you had $1 in your bank account, and there's a penny, right? You're like, fuck, dude. You're like, shit. Oh, it's way off.
Shit, I'm dead broke.
So it's and then we got to take these observations that people made themselves, and then someone comes in like you, no offense, and you're like, yeah, what about these pictures some stranger said they took from space? Oh yeah, just all my experience for these strangers fucking,
random guy in the ISS.
Those pictures and all that shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's another thing, right? So ISS, for instance, ISS would only see 3% of the Earth if you do the math. Okay, they're barely relatively to how big they say the Earth is. So 3% of the Earth, they shouldn't see any curvature of the horizon. All the images that they show from ISS show curvature of the horizon. But if you go to the Chinese website and with their space station, which is something like 23 kilometers lower than the ISS, all their imagery shows a flat Earth. So it's what are the probability that the Chinese can just do math and the NASA people can't do math? And so they did the math and they said no curve from here. So when they made their freaking CGI bullshit or whatever they're using, they actually depicted it correctly, and NASA's been depicting it wrong the whole time because NASA, unlike the Chinese space programs, they rely on public funding. The Chinese government is just the money's going here, whether you like it or not. But here, they have to convince people. And what's better to convince people is show a ball Earth. Just show every image you got to show a ball Earth. But then when you the interviews with the astronauts, they're like, yeah, Chris Hadfield said the Earth looks flat and beautiful. Yeah, that's what he said. He went on Good Morning America, and they were interviewing. He says the Earth looks flat and beautiful.
Oh.
Okay,
you guys dealt with videos saying you can draw a circle in Blender and just zoom into 3% of it and compare that with the ISS.
No.
Well, I mean, when I say 3% of the Earth, like the entire circle, the horizon, that would be 3% of the surface area of the Earth. This whole circle, not the 3%. The 3% would be like, fuck, dude. That would be, who knows, dude? 100 miles, 200 miles.
Couple trees, some bushes, some trails.
Yeah, so like, hopefully that gave you a rundown of kind of like, you know,
that's sort of help me understand how you see it.
Like we're not, and we're trying to stick with what do we know, not with like not what might be true. Yeah, maybe the Earth's a globe, maybe, but I don't know the Earth's a globe, and we've asked lots of people, how do you know the Earth's a globe? And at first they think they know, but when they actually start thinking about it, they don't actually know it. Right? They believe it, which is fine, but they don't actually know it. Right? And they'll say,
that's a fair statement.
And they'll say something like, well, the astronauts, they've seen it from space. Well, that would be them knowing it, not you knowing it, right? That would be their knowledge, not your knowledge. Right? So how do you know? Like that's the big question. And like we're trying to figure out what do we actually know, like as human beings. Because we think at least me personally, I think we've got like very far away from trying to figure out what can we say that's through 100% for sure. And we've gotten lost in maybes. And now we have so many maybes that nobody's like, and people are trying to turn the maybes into we know, right? So it's not maybe, it's we know, right? It's not like, because if you took all the maybes, if you said, oh shit, everything's a maybe, that means you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. 5 maybes don't make a I know. No matter how many you can sum all the maybes you want. Like, you're never going to get to I know with maybes. But we have lots of maybes, and what that people think are science and shit like that, dude. It's like science, the idea of science is a cult at this point. It's way beyond fucking what's reasonable.
I would say I feel like people would probably see it that way because they see astronauts as profession, which it is, I guess you can say being an astronaut's a profession in the same way that being a doctor is a profession. So a doctor can tell someone you have blank. I'm not saying this is solid evidence. I'm saying this is why someone might.
Hold on, that's actually not a very good analogy because being an astronaut is so rare that it's more like being in the Hall of Fame in the NBA.
That's true, I guess. Yeah.
Only 600 people claim to have been to space over 80 years. Think about that. Over a period of 80 years.
Very few people.
Yeah, very few. And like all humanity, 9 billion people are going to go, these 600 people are going to tell us what the Earth is, dude. That's crazy to me. To me, that's just crazy. Maybe it's just me. We're just like, everybody else is going to see these 600 people? Yeah, what they said. Fuck that shit. I'm not doing that, dude.
Fuck that shit.
So you said you had tests that measured the Earth, right? Like scientific tests? Do you know any?
I can find one. So I was referencing the lasers. You brought that up. The use of lasers is probably, to my knowledge, I can't say I personally, I can say I believe the Earth is round. I can't say I know the Earth is round because I've been to space. That's a reasonable argument that you made, where people believe that the Earth is round, but they can't know for sure based on personal observation. I get that. I can't say I've been up in space and looked down and seen around Earth, but I believe the Earth is round. But
so think about this. People go, why would they lie? Now, given what you just said, and the amount of people, how small the amount of people is that would know the Earth is round.
Yeah.
It's very small people. Very small. Who the fuck's lying? Nobody knows anything. Right? You got a bunch of believers saying the Earth is round. They're not lying. They're telling the absolute truth. They believe that shit. So, like, you know what I mean? It's like that whole idea that it would take some gigantic fucking conspiracy of like millions of people all lying on, like, they don't know anything, dude. They never been on like outer space. You think to prove it, you'd have to go to outer space and look at the Earth. Yeah, maybe that'll prove it, but like that's a very small group of people.
Yeah. Oh. I appreciate the talk. A friend just called me and wants to play a game with me, so I shall be going. But it was nice to hear about the.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty. We usually don't get that. We usually get people that are very emotional about this topic.
Emotional.
Obviously, you heard the other dude, right? He was spazzing out, right? So
he was not happy. He was not happy.
Yeah, it really, because there's a lot of eggs in that basket. Let's put it that way. And like, hearing the opposite, it rubs them the wrong way, to say the least.
All right, I shall see you around. Yeah, have a good one.
All right, peace.
Jang, you're up, man. Get on the mic, buddy. Or are you just a troll?
He's one of the people I was just talking about.
Oh, he's the muted one. Can you be civil, Jang?
Yeah, he's muted.